And now, as the dice roll, brought to you today by Mysterious Water Fountains. Mysterious Water Fountains quench your thirst and your curiosity.
Previously on What Is Not.
I'm holding the key with the card on it that was tossed to me. Vic tossed it to me.
He did say read between the lines.
One of those medium-sized moving vans has overturned, and there is a huge hole in the cargo space as if something has burst from it.
It smells like sulfur, which indicates that it could potentially be a demon.
We do have a small problem in the factory. One of the generators blew and knocked out one of the wings. It is from a place called Pine Barrens, South Jersey. In the sand of the Mojave Desert in California, off historic Route 66, sits a small desert town called Baghdad.
We have some ancient prophecy that something bad is going to go down in Baghdad.
It's a town of shadows and secrets.
Things aren't as they seem, but we're still not quite sure what's going on.
Where bumps in the night aren't the house settling.
Trying to find answers.
And the monster under your bed lies in wait for your foot to leave the safety of your covers.
My mom used to tell me all of these weird stories about monsters, but I didn't really believe anything she said because, that's crazy talk.
It's a world where cultists spend their days pushing papers at the DMV and their nights summoning ancient creatures from the dread beyond.
Maybe something happened down at CryptiCorp.
The expert.
Susan Donaldson, the town vet.
The freelancer.
People call me Beth. Hunting is sort of just like a business that I'm in.
The deathless.
Bruce the zombie and his father cast a spell to bring him back.
The initiate.
Donovan Pelayan, part of an ancient order of monster hunters.
The monstrous.
Zeke Solardier. He works for CryptiCorp, which is his family's corporation.
It's a town where it's very hard to tell what is real and what is not. Welcome to Baghdad. All right, so everybody goes in their various different ways. Let's start with Zeke and Bruce. Zeke, where do you go from here? I know you're going to CryptiCorp and you're planning on heading to your office, but anything specific that you're doing when you go there?
Well, I want to investigate the explosion, first off, that occurred down there and see if what Christian said, that it was really just a transformer or something. What was it?
Yeah, it was like transformer or a generator in one of the basements that had exploded. As you approach, there is a lot of security around. They recognize you and they wave you in, but they wave you towards the offices and not towards the factory.
Okay. So I think what I would do is to kind of nod, friendly, hey, just going about my business here, heading towards my office. But at my first opportunity, I'm going to kind of shift down one of the back campus roads that I'm intimately familiar with growing up on this corporate campus and try and hightail it over to those factories and lab areas to see if I can't uncover what's going on with this explosion.
Bruce starts to do the charades to say that he's going to basically be Secret Service for him. He's kind of got the hand in the ear the whole time, so blah, 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 just kind of watching his back.
As you pull up to the back of the labs, it is heavily guarded. There's a lot of security around. It's like they've called in everybody. Nobody's got a day off. Everybody's been called in. They've kind of secured the perimeter. They're not letting anyone into the building right now.
Bruce the zombie throws up lots of hand gestures, like military ones that he really doesn't know how to use, where he's just like...
He looks like a baseball coach.
Yes. He's working third base to basically say, stop, do not go for home plate.
I think Zeke maybe tries to manipulate one of these security personnel to allow him to let Zeke and Bruce slip through the security cordon.
Okay, so you pick a younger security guard. You want to give him a name?
Stanley.
Sigmund. Yeah.
Sigmund Stanley.
He grew up in Baghdad. He had a nice high school football career and then didn't evolve much past that. And so now he has started a life like many other people in Baghdad working for CryptiCorp, and he is in security. But he's only about 19, kind of a bigger guy, a big football guy. And he's like, "Oh, sorry, sir, but you're going to have to not come in here. We're closing down the area. It's dangerous. There was a fire."
Bruce sends a text to Zeke asking if he wants him to rough up this guy for him.
I say, well, let's not call too much attention to ourselves, roughing up this big 19-year-old security guard. Let's just try and manipulate him and get him to bend to my will a little bit.
Bruce responds, good idea, because he probably would have got his ass handed to him by the guard.
Alrighty, let's see. 9. That is a plus charm, which for Zeke... yeah, that's right. Zeke has no charm. Zeke is a -1 charm.
I think, if you want to get to the 10 plus, Bruce can help out.
No, because help out would only give him a +1, and he's at an 8 because of the -1. So what it is they'll do it, but only if you do something for them right now to show that you're going to do something for them.
So Zeke gives him a wink and a nod and says, "Come here, big boy."
Sigmund is a little just unsettled by that because he wasn't expecting it. He's like, "I'm sorry, sir, but I don't swing that way. No judgment, but yeah."
Can Zeke try something else?
Yes. So you tell him you want to go in, and he says, "Well, how do you pronounce his last name again? Zeke's last name?"
Zeke's last name?
Mm-hmm.
Let me consult just a moment. Zeke's last name is Solardeer.
Solardeer?
Solardeer, like dollar with an S and deer like Dear Abby.
Solardeer. So Sigmund goes, "Mr. Solardeer, I really shouldn't let you in, but I've been working for your family's company for 8 months now, and I could really use a raise. I'm a really hard worker, and I would really appreciate, is there anybody you can talk to that could help me out? Because I'm trying to climb the ladder." And
so Zeke smiles and says, "Oh, sure, Sigmund. I'll be happy to put a good word in with my dad. I'm sure that'll get results in just a matter of time."
Well, could you call him, or could you give me a letter of recommendation before going in? Because if I'm gonna risk my job here, I need some assurances that I'm gonna be okay here.
Sure, I'd be happy to write you a letter of recommendation. I have several stored on my computer that I'll just customize for you.
Okay, that'll be great. That would be great. Now, the whole reason why we're not letting in people is because it's really smoky. But I know you work here and you do ecology stuff. I'm like, I don't really know what you do, but I know you do stuff. So go in, but just don't let anybody see you. And if they do, then I didn't let you in. Okay.
Bruce the zombie asks if he can have the security guard's uniform to blend in better when they go in further into CryptiCorp.
He looks at you a little oddly and goes, "No, because I'm still on duty, and I think that might be going a little too far."
Bruce holds back the desire to fight with him.
Zeke tries to hide his disappointment at the disrobing opportunity. Got a miss.
So he opens the door and kind of looking around just to make sure nobody's going to see you guys going in. But you go in. It's pretty much chaos at this point. There's a lot of people kind of clearing away rubble, a lot of workers. There's an open elevator shaft at the end of the hall that you've come in through. And that's where it seems to be roped off. There's a lot of smoke coming out of it. And the elevator itself is no longer at the floor. It's like an open elevator shaft that they're kind of letting air out and venting. All the doors on that side of the hall are open, and they're just trying to put out fires and generally try and take care of the blast scene.
Is this just kind of this kind of smoking post-explosion kind of thing, or are there now other workers or people around this shaft?
There's other workers around the shaft. Like I said, they're trying to kind of clean up any rubble. This is the ground floor. It looks like the elevator goes down into a sub-basement. Have you been to this area of the lab before?
I've been to almost all the areas of campus at some point growing up, just, between playing and then working as a teen, and then in my few years back at the company since. So I don't think there are areas of the campus that I don't know about, though perhaps there are some. I've seen this elevator, but I've never actually taken it down to where the smoke seems to be coming from.
You do know that this is kind of offices and not really like experimental labs. It's more like where the scientists keep their offices, but not their experimenting space. The lab underneath this is where some, basic experiments go on. They do test on animals, but they have made big PR pushes to say it's all very humane, and most of it is just behavioral biology and that kind of information. So that's what you know about this particular building.
Okay.
Bruce the zombie does charades to point at him and say Batman, and then points at himself and says Robin, and then does charades to say solve mystery.
Can we investigate the shaft?
Yeah, one or both of you roll investigate a mystery, and that's plus sharp.
I got a +1 on sharp. What do you got?
I've got a 0, so you go for it.
We got a 9.
Is that plus the 1?
That is plus my 1.
Okay, so you can hold 1, and again, the questions are: what happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? Or what is being concealed here?
Where did it go?
Between the scene that Donovan showed you and just the appearance of the rubble here, you can tell that this was not like the creature flew into this area. The two seem to be completely, at least at first inspection, unrelated. So whatever caused the explosion here didn't necessarily have anything to do with the creature in the truck.
Okay.
That's something you can tell. Like they seem to have happened at different times.
Bruce starts a group text with the rest of the party and fills them in on this information so they know demon not here. With a bunch of emojis also. Sorry.
Susan texts back a dog face and a thumbs up.
Anything else you guys want to do while you're here?
Bruce points to him and says, anything else?
Should I do more tests of the air to see if there's similar compounds as there were at the accident scene?
Sure.
Bruce shows a picture of Einstein and then points at you.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll investigate a mystery.
8 plus sharp, and I am -1 sharp, right?
No, I think you're -1 charm. I think you're 0 sharp.
Oh, you're right, yeah. 0 sharp. Okay, so it's just an 8. I'm going to go with what's being concealed here.
You make your way to the edge of the shaft, and everybody else is, they're just kind of doing their jobs. They're not really paying you much attention, and you are the boss's kid, so most people just assume you're supposed to be there. So you make your way to the edge of the shaft, and as you look down, it looks like there's more than one story below this building.
I put pictures of it on Instagram.
I yodel into the void to see how long it takes for my echo to return.
Scientifically speaking, I don't know that you can hear that, but you can see that there's at least one, if not two, basements below the one that you knew was already there.
All right.
I comment on the Instagram because I follow Bruce regularly and say, investigate. Go down the shaft.
Something very interesting happens. Bruce, when you get into an area where there's no reception for a second, like or you lose connection to Wi-Fi or something, and everything kind of spins, nothing's loading. That happens for a brief moment, and then you notice that the pictures have been taken down from Instagram.
Ooh.
Whoa. Now Susan's worried because she notices that, and so she texts Bruce and says, maybe don't go down the shaft.
The response is removed for terms of service violations.
Zuckerberg. Damn him.
I mean, That is true.
Yeah, so then Bruce will respond back to the group. Big Brother is watching us.
Anything more with Zeke and Bruce?
If Zeke wants to investigate, Bruce will be meat shield. If he wants to do something else, he will protect.
Zeke looks around to see if there's perhaps an alternative to the shaft, such as a nearby stairwell, that we could try and sneak down to this lower level.
You do find that there is a small stairwell that allows you to go down to the floor below. There's more workers there. What it looks like happened is that whatever caused the explosion looks like it took advantage of the elevator shaft and blasted up through the elevator shaft. And so there's on each level, there's workers kind of clearing away debris. Doors have been blown out. Windows have kind of shattered from the explosion. But if you didn't know now that there were basements below this one, you probably never would know because the stairwell ends. Unless there's another way, they're way out of code violation. There are many code violations because it does not look like there is any sort of fire escape from the lower levels.
Bruce sends a group text that there may be a Diablo 3-like dungeon below.
Susan responds with like the base exploding emoji.
Let's go ahead and move the camera to the library. Is that where the rest of the party is right now?
Just so you know, the whole way on the car, like Susan is like peppering Donovan with questions. She can't believe her luck that she has met this person. So they are just talking nonstop at this point.
So anyway, I didn't know that Lucky Charms was a breakfast cereal in the States. So you can imagine my surprise when I got here and I discovered that my secret nickname was, a cartoon candy tasting breakfast cereal. Shocking and so disrespectful to your Irish heritage. Extremely.
But delicious.
What about you? Where did you get Bagavet?
Well, I've been the vet here for a really long time. I take care of all of the animals. So that's my expertise. And that's why I'm wondering, have you seen anything like this before in all of your experience?
I said earlier that I've hunted goruats before, but it was a little bit of big talk. I've never seen this before. I'm very excited to get to an internet-enabled computer so that we can talk about it on Discord. By the way, it looks like you have internet on your phone. How do you do that?
Yes, when we get to the library, I will take care of your laptop issues.
That would be fantastic. Thank you. I keep getting text messages from somebody calling himself Bruce the Zombie.
I don't know how he got your number.
He said there's a third Diablo?
Yes, I'm sensing danger at CryptiCorp, so I'm a little worried about them. I'm almost wondering if we should turn back now. But yeah, so we get to the library and we wait for Beth outside, who I'm assuming shows up.
Yeah, you joining Beth?
Yep, I'm there.
So you get there, and what's very unusual is that it's closed. And there's a sign in the window that says, in very flowery, like for kids kind of print on a sign, it says, closed for emergency, will reopen tomorrow.
Mm.
Should we try the key?
Sure. Yeah, try the key.
The key does not fit.
Darn it.
Now, while you're standing there, a small 10-year-old boy who I think probably Susie would recognize. His name is Cormac Penmark. He's 7 years old, and he sees Susie, and he comes running up, and he's got a bunch of flyers in his hand. And he says with a little bit of the, Dr. Donaldson?
Hi, Cormac.
Hello. Would you please put this flyer up in your veterinary office? Because I cannot find my dog.
Oh, no. What kind of dog did you lose?
Well, Sparky's a little bit of a mutt. He's got tan fur, and he's got some brown around his ears, and he's my bestest friend.
Oh, Cormac, I am so sorry. Absolutely, and I'll look for Sparky everywhere. When did you lose him?
There was a monster.
What did you see?
I was playing with Sparky in the backyard, and this big monster came and he took Sparky.
Young man, when the monster came, Did it smell like farts?
It smelled like when my mom has to throw away eggs.
Hmm.
So I'm looking at Donovan, and do I know where Cormac lives?
Yeah, actually, you probably know Sparky because they probably brought him in for shots
Yeah.
and everything. You know, his parents are Stephen and Elise, and they are nice townsfolk. You know, probably members of PTA. Dad hangs out with the guys on the weekends. Just kind of an average family.
I kneel down, I put my hand on Cormac's shoulder, and I ask, did you see where the monster took Sparky?
He flew away.
Okay. I give Cormac a big hug, and I take the flyers, and I turn to Donovan to see if there's anything else that we need to ask him. And Beth. Sorry, Beth's there too. Beth, yes.
You know, young man, when something happens to me that's unpleasant, sometimes what helps is to draw a picture of the bad thing. That helps me deal with my feelings, my emotions. So perhaps you could draw a picture of the monster for us?
Oh, I could definitely do that. I'm a good drawer.
Susan pulls out a pen and turns over one of the flyers. Oh, and asks Beth for the clipboard.
Yes, I do have the clipboard in my bag.
So he very intently, like his tongue's kind of sticking out to the side of his mouth, and he's drawing a creature, and like it's very stick figure-y, but it seems to have like cinnamon rolls on its head, and it has big wings that come out. They're kind of just scribbles, and claws on the hands and feet. And when he's done, he shows it to you.
Thank you, Cormac. That's really, really helpful. And I'm going to try to do everything I can to find Sparky.
Thank you, Dr. Donaldson. And he kind of runs down, and you actually see his mom there with a couple of other flyers, and she kind of waves to thank you.
I wave to her.
And she kind of shuttles him off to the next place to drop off a flyer.
So I turn to Donovan and Beth, and I'm like, we need to find out where we can find this creature. But before we do that, we need to find out how we can hurt this creature because it sounds huge and scary.
Are you guys going to hang out in front of the library? Going to head somewhere else?
I think we need to get into the library, but no one has a key.
Can we walk around the library just to see if there's any other way to get in?
Oh, wait, everybody. I'm going to use another magic spell to see if I can get us into the library.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Look out for all the magic. And then I would like to use a credit card and try to unlock the door. To be clear, there's no magic involved.
I'm going to have you roll act under pressure.
All right.
Roll plus cool.
All right. I'm oodles of cool. Oh, no, I'm not. I have 0 cool. Okay. How does a 6 strike you?
So mark experience.
Oh, boy.
Can Susan try to help?
Yeah.
Okay. She uses sharp because of one of her moves, and she got a 9, 10, 11. So she got an 11.
Susie, you've done this before.
Yeah, how do you help them pick the lock to the library door?
Yes, well, I've broken into a thing or two in my life.
Nice. Okay, so, she maybe like adjusts your approach to the door just enough that it does click.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen that work in real life. I've just seen it on American television shows.
I kind of just picture it like he's like really working at it, trying to figure out what she can do, and she just kind of takes her hand and pushes it down just like half an inch, and you hear a click, and then it just opens.
Happy to help.
So the lights are off in the library, and there's nobody around because it is closed.
Well, we should probably keep the lights off if it's supposed to be closed. We don't want anyone outside to know we're in here, right?
Yeah, let's keep the lights off. Is this a single room? Like, are there multiple rooms and floors and back room?
Is there a coffee shop?
No, it is a very Spartan library, although the mayor has on many occasions talked about how they're very proud that they have such a full service library where it just does have a collection that is big for a library this size. There is a main room. The checkout counter is to the left when you walk in. When you walk into the right is like a little children's area with a little stage. And by stage, I mean like a corner of carpeted room that is like elevated by 6 inches. So a little place where kids probably sit and watch people who read them stories or, do some sort of little children's show. As you go further back, the stacks get more dense. It does look like there were established stacks that were there when the library first opened, but that since then, more stacks have been kind of shoved into different corners and angles to make room for an expanding collection that would normally not be in this size library. In the back, to the right, there is what used to be a men's room, and to the left, there is what used to be a women's room, but both of those have had their placards replaced with just gender neutral bathrooms. They're single stall bathrooms. And that is what you see.
Does Susan or Beth know where the books are, or if there's a section of books that help to explain things that are slightly supernatural or unknown or unearthly?
Well, have you come in here to look for that kind of stuff before?
Yeah, because ever since her dad died, she's just kind of always been curious about that. And then when her sister died, yeah, so she's been in kind of looking for things like that before.
In her experience, Susie would see that the books that they have that are the quote-unquote occult books are like not the most in-depth or reliable. They're very new agey. They're very surface level.
Idiot's Guide.
There is definitely an Idiot's Guide. Not even a for dummies. It's an Idiot's Guide. So yeah, it's not a very in-depth section of the library.
Well, I don't know if we're going to get our questions answered here, but while we're here, should we check out Vic's desk?
Yeah, so Beth was about to suggest that because Vic seems to be connected to what happened earlier at the comic book store, that the best course of action forward would to be go to Vic's office and see if we can get some answers from their desk.
If you look at their desk, it's kind of behind the checkout counters. It's open. It's almost like a cubicle, but it's really low walls, and it's just meant to, she's got maybe a 6-inch ledge that she can pin stuff on. And from all accounts, you see that it looks like a normal desk that you would see. And it's got some books there. It's got paperwork, order forms, transfer forms. It's very pristinely kept, which suggests that Vic is a very organized individual.
Are there any locked cabinets or drawers or?
The bottom drawer, like that, usually you have on the side of desks, that two thin drawers and a big like file drawer. The file drawer does have a lock on it.
I elbowed Beth. I said, try the key.
Beth, do you try the key?
Yes, we try the key.
The key does not fit.
Okay. Should we open it now that I have, you all know about my credit card skills?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll under pressure.
Okay. 9, 10, 11 again. I swear it's just a Google.
I was going to offer to help, but you've got it.
The Google's has my back.
It is really easy to open it. It's a pretty flimsy lock, and in it is a big like cash box that has about like $50 petty cash in it. It's probably used for when they have fundraisers or bake sales or whatever they do for fundraising purposes. And some files, mostly on like personnel stuff. Nothing terribly interesting.
Okay, Susan's feeling really guilty at this point, and she takes a $20 bill out of her pocket and puts it in the drawer before she closes it up again.
If this was a D&D, I would say subtract 20 from your inventory. But
is it possible that Vic has a different desk in the library that we don't know about?
Or can't see.
Anything's possible, but you don't have anything, like you can't see anything like that from where you are. Everything's pretty open except for being covered by stacks.
I'm like wondering if there's like a secret passage or a place to go downstairs, and if can we look for something like that?
Yeah, go ahead and investigate a mystery.
Okay, everybody better roll in case some of us fail.
Yeah, well, I'll help look.
I got an 11. What do we do for investigate? What do we add?
Sharp.
Oh, 11, 12, 13.
Oh, wow. I got an 11.
Nice. So you've each got hold 2, which means that you can ask both questions now, or you can hold on to one later. But don't forget that you guys keep these holds.
I still have a question.
Oh, nice. I want to ask what is being concealed here.
You don't see anything necessarily that stands out as far as being necessarily like hidden. There doesn't seem to be any like hidden desk behind anything. I'll describe it in a little bit more detail. The paint job is in kind of 70s colors because it has been here for a while. There are kind of like burnt orange on the walls. There's like a pattern that kind of zigzags across one wall. And then along another wall, there's like circles and different patterns that way. And just kind of these different geometric shapes all across the walls. And then from the front door, there is like a path. And it's about maybe 2 burnt orange kind of lines that lead down the center of the building. And at every old stack, like original stack, there's like a split off of this burnt orange line. So if you're looking at it, you're looking at kind of like of a runway with burnt orange lines running down it. And then everywhere there's a set of bookcases, it shoots down like it was like a little path to go down each of the stacks.
So there's lines. This is inside the library, from the front door into the library, down the stacks.
Yeah, they kind of look like they're just decorative tiles. Like the paint has been painted on the floor down the length of the building.
But are they just decorative?
Okay, so I just, I kind of, now that I'm paying more attention, I take some pictures of the geometric shapes on the walls, and I follow all of the lines. I don't know if I notice anything.
Like I said, each of the lines shoot down one of the original paths between bookcases, between the stacks, and then they end at the back wall.
Maybe we should split up and go down the different stacks, follow a different path, and see where it goes.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we're all following a different line, and do we all end up on the back wall?
I'd like to follow is it the center line that goes to the back wall?
The center line actually has 2 lines. So it's like, I'll try and do it in the camera. This makes great podcasting. So if I'm the front door and this is the back door, there's 2 burnt orange lines that go up and hit the back wall, and then like lines across where each of the entrances to the different stacks are.
I would like to come out of Joe and follow the 2 lines that go straight up into the air where the back wall is. And I would like to investigate that wall where the 2 lines hit it.
Okay, it actually goes up the wall. And in between the 2 lines, there is a really old drinking fountain. If you went to the right, you would go around to where one bathroom is. And then if you go to the left, you'd be going around to where the other bathroom is. But if you'd been in the bathrooms, you would see that like it wouldn't go behind this wall.
Right.
Like you could tell that there's no...
The bathrooms do not abut one another.
Yes.
All right.
Meaning that there's a potential space in between?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'll say, hey, lassies, come back here. And I'm trying to be slightly Irish. I know I'm bad at it, but anyway. Come back here and help me look. I think there might possibly be a space for a hidden room behind this wall.
I knock on the door to see if I hear anything sounding hollow. I mean, on the wall.
It doesn't sound terribly solid. There's a little bit of an echo.
I mess around with the drinking fountain because I'm looking for like some kind of button or...
I was thinking that too, but it might be too easy for someone to accidentally trigger the secret passageway if they're just trying to get a drink of water and they're like, oh my gosh, the walls are moving. What?
Both of you still have 2 holds, right?
I have 2.
I have a hold. Beth has a hold.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look for what is concealed behind this place that I think is a concealed room.
As you look around the wall, you notice on the left-hand side of the drinking fountain, there is a little hole that looks like it might be for a key. Anybody who would not be looking for something like this would just think that it's some sort of like maintenance lock to get to the pipes.
Oh.
Again, bad podcasting, but Beth's expression was priceless. The key! The key!
Third time's a charm, they always say.
I found a keyhole. Beth, do you want to try your key on this?
You're a genius, Donovan. I know it's Lucky Charms would be lucky for us.
Yes.
Yep, let's try the key again. Maybe it'll work this time.
The key does, in fact, fit. Ooh, I wonder what's going to happen when they turn that key. Hello, I'm Joe Hogan, editor of As the Dice Roll, and I want to welcome you back to our Monster of the Week campaign, What Is Not? Not much to report today, so we're just going to quickly remind you where you can find all our fun and exciting players when they are not unlocking suspicious drinking fountains. Katie, who plays Beth, is on Tea Time with Katie and Chelsea, Can't Stop Me Loving K-Pop, and Disney Forever. Todd, who plays Donovan, is on the Nerdberg Review, and I can be found on Geektitude. And of course, Todd and Drew, who plays Bruce the Zombie, are the two other game masters on As the Dice Roll. And all these podcasts can be found on the Geek Media Network. Now, this is a conspiracy setting, so we want to know what your theories are. Can you figure out what monster they're hunting before the hunters do? And I like to hide Easter eggs in my games, so let us know if you spot any. You can email us at podcast@asthedicerollcast.com, or you can check out our Twitter at asthedicerollrp or our Instagram at asthediceroll. We also have a voice message option. Hop onto our Anchor site or the website at asthedicerollcast.com. Click the message link and say hello. We really want to hear from you. And I may even play your audio during these wonderful intermissions. And finally, make sure to hop over to the dedicated As the Dice Roll channel on the Geek to Geek Media Network Slack. You can find the link on the Geek to Geek Media website at geektogeekmedia.com under Contact Us. And that's also where you can join the Geek to Geek Media Discord server. We'd love to hear from you. That's it for me for now. Let's find out what happens when they turn that key right after a quick commercial break. When toxic culture has you down,
when you're just looking to laugh and have fun,
kick back and enjoy watching a video game,
or just make some new friends,
it's time to visit the Geek to Geek Media Network,
a community of podcasters, streamers, and bloggers.
Well, more of a family than a community.
All dedicated to geeking out about the things we love. Things like
video games,
Star Wars,
comics,
movies,
K-pop,
Disney Plus,
Keanu Reeves,
new,
or whatever our community decides is the next best thing.
That's right. We have a great online community on Slack and Discord where we chat about our weekly geekery with listeners and viewers.
And each other.
Yep, and each other in real time, and we can't wait for you to join us.
So come check us out at geektogeekmedia.com.
And escape toxic fandom for something much more...
Keanu?
Yes, Keanu.
The key does, in fact, fit. As you turn the key, the wall shifts, and almost like it was lowered a little bit to allow it to open, and you can push it in. Do you enter?
You betcha.
Yes, after Susan's jumping up and down and patting them both on the back. They're like, oh my God.
All right.
Like, relax. Calm down. Be professional about this.
Yeah, this is the cool one. Susan is not.
Relax.
Maybe this is something we should put on the Instagram.
To see if it disappears.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I immediately take a picture of and a second one of my smiling face, gleeful face, and send it to Bruce. With, look what we found! We found our own shaft.
Yeah, we should probably send, because we have the group chat going, right, that Bruce started. So we need to probably send a text to our peeps to let them know that we found.
Separate text to the peeps, and it's more calm.
We're going to shift the camera to Zeke and Bruce. Bruce, you get this text message of a wall open, and what you guys see behind this wall is a staircase that leads down below ground.
Bruce does military hand gesture X to say that we need to go help them check out whatever that is. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Is it like an emoji of like a whiskey glass with like a fox face and then like footprints?
I will say that if you send that to him, he will respond, "That is awesome," and then starts using that all the time.
Excellent.
So Bruce and Zeke, are you heading over to the library?
Yes, Zeke agrees. They quickly make their way out of the building, make their way past Sigmund, give him a quick smack on the ass and a wink of thank you. Hop in the car to hightail it to the library.
Does he really slap Sigmund on the ass?
Well, why not?
That's a little non-consensual touching going on
That's
there.
harassment from the superiors, but he's giving him a recommendation. So I think that.
Whoa.
That's what works.
Yeah. This has suddenly become problematic.
Where's HR? Who do we call?
Oh,
Where's HR?
All right. Well, I just needed to know if that was a joke or an actual thing. So if it's an actual thing, good to know.
Zeke doesn't always make the best decisions.
Clearly.
Should Bruce have potentially recorded it on like TikTok or something?
Oh my god. It's awful. It's awful.
I don't know.
All right. So are you guys waiting for Bruce and Zeke?
yes, I skipped to the door, and I am so excited. I can't wait to show Bruce.
But you do wait for them before you go down?
I don't know. I'm waiting, but Beth and Donovan may already be halfway down.
Can we get a description of like what the staircase is like? Is it like one of those fancy metal twisting staircases or just like a generic?
It's a poured concrete staircase. It looks like it's been there for a while.
Cool, so lame. Got it.
Yeah, it's a lame staircase. It's not an industrial staircase. It's not a modern staircase. It's a Boric staircase.
I feel like Beth would go in, but I mean, should I read in a bad situation? Possibly. I don't know.
Go for it.
Okay, let me roll. I got 7 + 1.
So you got an 8. So hold 1. One hold can be spent to ask the keeper one of the following questions. What is my best way in? What is my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What is the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? What's the best way to protect the victims?
Let's do, are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
I would say the only danger you have right now is you've illegally broken into the library.
Okay.
Beyond that, you don't see any traps. You don't hear anybody down there. So from everything you can tell, you're alone in the library looking at an empty passageway.
Okay, so no immediate danger. Got it. Well, I'm going in. Y'all can wait if you want.
I wait by the door and just trying to not show that I've broken into the library. Just kind of, I'm excited, but I'm being discreet.
I'm going to say to Susan, hey, it looks like Beth is diving into the shaft. Should we go with her?
Go after her. Don't let her go down there alone.
All right.
I'll get the door.
I'll run after Beth and say, wait up. I'll have your back.
Okay, as you walk down the stairs, you see what could only be described as a survivalist bomb shelter. Like this was put in sometime maybe during the 40s, in case of air raid type stuff. This is basically a panic room survival basement type space. In this space, there are about 6 distinct areas. It actually expands out. Like you go down the stairs, there's a little landing, and then it doubles back into a space that is just slightly smaller than the footprint of the entire library. So it's this relatively big open space. In the far end of the room, so under where the entrance would be upstairs, there seems to be 4 little bunks, like areas where 4 individuals have kind of set up shop. Like this is where they sleep. There's lockers. There's personal effects. There is to the left an area that looks like it would be almost a dungeon. There's bars inside of it. You see that there's all sorts of shackles and kind of things, obviously meant to hold somebody prisoner.
Somebody or something.
Somebody or something. To the right, there is a huge board, like a big cork board, and it's almost illuminated from some sort of like old glass tiles in the sidewalk above. The natural light is kind of shining down onto this huge, takes up the entire wall. And the only thing it could be explained as is a conspiracy board. You guys have your own conspiracy board that we use for taking notes and stuff on, but this is something that has obviously been used for a while. There is all sorts of connections. You see stuff about UFOs. You see stuff about all sorts of different creatures. You see things about just anything you could think of. It is probably on this board. There's Illuminati symbols. There's magical symbols that Donovan might recognize. There's pictures of monsters that Beth and Susie may have faced in the past. There's just all sorts of stuff and different threads connecting them to and what you can tell by this is whoever is down here has been working on a mystery for quite a while, and that they have made as much headway as they have made without knowing what they're thinking. You have no idea if they're anywhere close to solving what this mystery is. There's a little kitchenette in there. There are some workbenches. One looks like it is set up for like alchemy experiments. There is a weapons locker on the entrance side. So, just below where the bathrooms and drinking fountain are, there's like a weapons locker in one of those corners. You have stumbled onto what probably is a hunter's hideout.
Beth, you knew Vic pretty well, right? Did they ever talk about something like this in the library?
No.
What do you make of the monsters and stuff on this board?
It feels like whoever this bunker belongs to, whether it's Vic or someone else, or Vic is working with other people, that they've been tracking not only the activities in Baghdad, but other places, and they know more than they were letting on. Because it seems like some of the monsters and things that our group has encountered are up on this board. So like someone's been tracking us.
Wow, that's kind of creepy.
Yes, I would say that there is probably a reference to everybody in our group. So there is somewhere on the board, there is a picture of Susan. Somewhere on the board, there is a picture of Bruce. There is a picture of Beth. There is no picture of Donovan, and there is no picture of Zeke.
I'm going to point to the picture of Bruce, and I'm going to say to Beth, this chap here really confuses me. Why are you and Susan and everybody okay with him and friends with him? You all know he's a zombie, right?
Oh, yes. We're very aware that he is a zombie, but dude takes great Instagram pictures. What can you do?
If the Zubabat monster has a lot of followers on social media, will you befriend it as well?
Look, I know you're skeptical of Bruce, but the dude saved my life.
Oh.
So that's why we keep him around.
Oh.
Heart eye emoji.
Okay.
So at this point, we can say that maybe Bruce and Zeke are here. I'm assuming Susan kind of waves them in.
Yes,
when they get there.
Swing the door open, and I'm still jumping up and down a little bit, and I grab Bruce's slimy hand, shut the door behind them, and run him down the hallway.
Ew.
You can't go ew, you just defended him to me.
Hey, we might be bros, but the dude is slimy. He's a dead person.
Beth defended him. Katie's grossed out.
Katie's grossed out.
That's fair.
Beth loves Bruce, okay?
So now I'm assuming all five of you are down in this bunker. Like, does anybody else want to do any other investigating?
Yes, Bruce wants to go look at the weapon rack.
It's a good collection of stuff. There's different kinds of guns. There's probably a flail, some axes, a couple daggers. Like, this is a well-stocked little weapon closet. type space.
Bruce would like to grab the daggers and stab himself with them to basically take them in as inventory for himself.
Oh my!
All right, you have acquired several daggers.
All of the weapons are like old-timey weapons, though, right? Where there's no guns or anything?
No, there's guns. There's different types.
Oh, okay.
There's different types of guns. Some of them look like they may have been from World War II. There's probably a couple of, what do they call, flintlock type guns.
So old-timey guns.
Old-timey guns, new-timey guns.
Okay.
There's obviously spaces where there were guns that there are no longer guns, but there's also spaces where there were probably other weapons that are no longer there as well.
Bruce also wants to go over to the conspiracy board to see if there's any further leads they can find on the monster that they're hunting.
Yeah, Susan starts to pour through a bunch of different books that she thinks might be helpful. And I do have a held question. If I don't know if I find something in one of the books where I could ask it.
Go for it.
What sort of creature is it?
I'm going to say you grab a book that has some sort of symbol on it that it suggests it's like a more advanced version of Demons for Dummies. And you flip through and you do see a creature that does kind of look like what was described to you. And let me see if I can put a copy of the image in Discord.
And he puts another picture of Karen on the board.
It's totally Karen.
Definitely.
So that is what looks most like what has been described to you.
What in the...
And on reading the little passage from it, you see that it is described as the Jersey Devil. Next time on What Is Not.
Apparently that Vic was some kind of conspiracy nut.
I don't see you on the board, Zeke, but I feel like you could be.
It does look like there is a line from CryptiCorp to every other chunk of information. Who's he working for? You've been listening to As the Dice Roll. The As the Dice Roll intro music is The Soap Opera by James Bowers. You can find and license his music through Pond5 at pond5.com. All the rest of the music in this episode is by Darren Curtis and can be found at darrencurtismusic.com. The opening voiceover is by our very own Rob Sometimes. You can find his podcast at comicbox.libsyn.com. And the As the Dice Roll logo was created by Maricel Edwards. Check out her book No Great Matter at msedwards.com. As the Dice Roll is a proud member of the Geek to Geek Media Network. Check out other Geek to Geek shows, streams, and content at geektogeekmedia.com. If you'd like to contact the show, you can send an email to podcast@asthedicerollcast.com. Individual players and GMs' social media can be found on our website at asthedicerollcast.com.